Anyone can have a gimme, but it really gets interesting when you go for two. The Go for Two podcast starting now.
Hello, everybody. Once again, welcome back to the Go for Two podcast. I'm here with my man Don, as always, the stats guru.
Glad to be here in Middletown once again for episode 9.
Yeah, man. And this is everybody's favorite couch quarterback, Dante, rocking it out once again on the Saturday on October 19th. We're on the eve of South Carolina beating our nemesis right now. My nemesis.
Your nemesis,
I'm not sure how you feel about Florida, but I know they're my nemesis for sure.
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan?
No, not a big fan for Florida.
See.
So I'm okay with that.
As long as you're okay with it, you know I'm okay with it. So we got a couple things to talk about today. One topic that I'm really excited to get into. A lot of implications just like last week and the weeks before. So we're going to go ahead and have Don get started with telling us the location of where we're going to be doing a live podcast.
Yes, sir. Next week, we are not recording in Middletown. We are going to be recording live in Oxford, Pennsylvania. We'll be at 19 South 3rd Street in downtown Oxford at the Maroon Hornet Comic and Collectible Store. We will be there at 1 o'clock. From 1 to 2, you can stop by, meet and greet with me and Dante. And then at 2 o'clock, we have the live recording of the podcast. So please stop by. We would love to meet you. We got some giveaways, and it's a great idea to come to the shop just to see what Randy has there, man.
Yeah,
he's got some cool comics
shop,
there. He's in his new location. We bought some stuff from him. Good guy, good shop. Hope to see everybody there.
Yeah, man. I'm super excited to have a live showing finally.
Yeah.
Come down and see us. I know it's a homecoming for Don being back in Oxford, PA.
Yep.
This will be the first time I'm meeting Randy in person. I know I've bought plenty of comics for him, and as everybody knows, I'm a big comic book fan. So this should be an excellent time for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
So my wife will be there actually also. She's the one that does the intro and the outro for the podcast. Actually a couple different things before we actually get started too. So we want to make sure that everybody knows that as of right now, we are featured on a lot of different audio sites. So one of them is Spotify.
All right, finally.
So yeah, man. So if you like Spotify, go check us out on Spotify. We've been on iTunes for a while. We kind of had to do some tweaking in the past because we got a new logo. Which
That's right.
I hope you guys like the new logo. I'm also the graphic designer for the podcast.
That's right.
So this is fun times. Also, we're on Google Podcast. So people that are iPhone users or Android users that are not iPhone users, go check us out there. We're on Stitcher. And we're also on, actually not Stitcher, not quite yet, but Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes, and also on Anchor. So
and last episode we had a nice treat too because we were on YouTube.
Yeah. So I had to let Don throw that one in there. So I'm trying to get the distribution for Stitcher next. I know that's a big podcast website as well, but I just had to throw that announcement out there that we're on all of these now, and go subscribe to us on YouTube, where we kind of have a visual video of exactly what we're talking about from week to week. So it takes a lot of time to do these videos, so I appreciate you if you go, drop a subscribe. So now, let's get into football.
All right.
What's our first topic, Don?
Well, since we started out with the Florida and Carolina game, let's go with the NCAA first.
Okay.
Let's hit the top 25 rankings.
Okay.
We can go handle a few at a time here, and you tell me what you think. Of course, number 1, we still have Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But sliding up to number 2, we have LSU, man. What do you think of that?
I'm excited about that. 3 spots from where they previously were.
I love it.
So Clemson does deserve to drop. I mean,
yeah.
Playing Florida State last week, oh, man, that was a heartbreaker. And they smashed us. I know they were giving them like 28 points or something. People were like, that's crazy. You're going to give them 28 points. But, yeah, that would have been smart not to take the 28 points against us. So then we got Ohio State at number 4.
Yep.
which is probably the most complete team in
Yeah,
the
they are a
NCAA.
very complete team.
And Oklahoma down there at number 5. So not a bad top 25. I still think Wisconsin should be in there instead of Clemson just by their field of work. But really, top 4 should be Alabama, LSU, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. That's your top 4.
Okay. Wisconsin comes in at number 6,
Mm-hmm.
followed by Penn State.
Shout out to the Penn State fans.
It's going to be a whiteout in that game today, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. That's going to be an interesting game. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yep.
Number 8, Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is one of those teams, man. They took that loss to heart. I mean, they've been smashing people. So
Number 9, for at least another quarter, would be the Florida Gators.
yep, they actually dropped 2 spots from last week, and then the heartbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
They dropped 7 spots.
Yeah.
This is the team that me and Donna talked about could either be one game from winning, or one game from losing it all, and that's Georgia, number
That's
10.
right.
Auburn,
Yep.
number 11.
That's it.
We had actually got a game confused this week. They thought they were playing, Mississippi State?
Ole Miss.
Ole
yeah.
Miss, that's right.
But no, they're playing Arkansas, so they're in no danger of losing that game.
Nope. And then kind of rounding out the top 15, we got Oregon, Utah, who should not be number 13, Boise State, who should not be number 14, and Texas at number 15. So,
Okay.
And then this one right here,
yeah.
man.
16, man. Look at that.
This probably tells it all after today's game. There's a lot of implications when they play Penn State. We got Michigan at number 16. Arizona State, still my pick to play in the Pac-12. They're looking good.
They are looking good.
And then Baylor, who just kind of sneaked up there to 18, but they look pretty good. They're up 4 spots from last week. SMU always seems to crack the top 25 every year.
They
but
are.
We're looking at upset alert today
Yes.
with Temple.
Yep, they are undefeated going into this week, but I'm looking for Temple to take them down. And then finishing at number 20, we got Minnesota. Now, that's a team that's been looking really good this
Flying
year.
under the radar.
They
6
are
and
under
0.
the radar.
Yep.
Yep.
They should be a lot higher than they are.
I
think.
agree.
There's a lot of 5-1 teams, and especially in the top 15. They should be up there in top 15, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. They're up there at 21. Missouri 22. Iowa 23, who still has the best tradition in college football.
And now the one that jumped in 24.
Appalachian State. I know Michigan is looking in their rearview mirror.
Yes,
They're
they
coming
are.
after you again. And then Jacob Eason and the Washington Huskies right
Yeah.
there at 25. So not bad. I think there's some teams more deserving to be in there. And just some others receiving votes. We know Virginia lost.
Right.
They dropped out. Memphis dropped out.
Yeah.
Wake Forest was like number 18,
I think so.
and they lost.
They lost,
Dropped out. I don't think they should have dumped that far down because I think they only lost by 3 points to Louisville. But Temple's up there receiving votes. Tulane, UCF.
Hey, now there you go with Temple. We just talked about them as a possible upset alert. If they beat SMU this week, that is their 3rd ranked team they've beaten this year. It'll be the 2nd unbeaten team in a row, back to back. They took Memphis last week. I expect to see them in the top 25.
Absolutely. Right down the street.
Yep.
Temple's right down the street from Middletown, Delaware, basically. About an hour. But right down the street. They're in their
That's
backyard.
good enough.
So that rounds out the top 25 with the college football. Let us know your thoughts. As always, I don't think it's too bad this year. It's been kind of a weird year. A lot of teams have been getting upset. A lot of teams that we predicted to be upset. And we just hope the trend kind of continues. It's always good for college football, so I'm not complaining one bit.
That's it. Keep an eye on our Facebook page because we're trying to put that up there every week. We put up our games to watch. We also put up a couple upset alerts, and I think we're trending near 70% on our upset alerts.
Yeah,
so,
man.
It's going to be a good thing to watch, man.
Yeah. Hey, sign us up for a GM position. We've been telling you guys this for weeks now. So, next topic.
Oh, yeah, the Heisman. We have the top 5 listed here and a few stats for these guys. And Jalen Hurts at number 1, man. Oklahoma quarterback.
You can't argue it.
No, 17 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 1,758 yards. The guy's good. You can't argue that.
Yeah, and then you got Tua up there.
Tua, yeah, now he's thrown for more yards, 2011, and 27 touchdowns to 1 interception.
That's including rushing touchdowns.
Oh, that includes everything.
Yeah. So touchdown is a touchdown, however you can get it. But one guy that I think that should be arguably almost number one.
Yeah, this guy is really impressive.
Especially if they beat Alabama.
Yes.
You can't argue it. I'm sorry, Jalen. This might be the first year that Oklahoma in the past 3 years is not number one for a Heisman quarterback. But Joe Burrow deserves it, man. He's got it. I love it.
Yeah, he is looking good. 2157 for total yards, 25 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The guy is making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Man, he is looking really good. I can't really express how good. He deserves to be where he's at, and I want to see him keep going.
It's somebody that loves Joe Burrow that thinks he should be the number one in the Heisman watch is Tim Tebow.
There you
We
go.
know a little bit about Tim Tebow and how he was in the Heisman.
There you go.
I think he might know a couple things. Jonathan Taylor coming in at number 4 for Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Impressive.
nice to see a running back in there.
14 TDs?
14 TDs, 6.4 average, 825 yards.
Now play it like this. If you're a good NFL running back, you're getting anywhere from 3.8 to 4 yards a carry. That's a good year.
Yeah.
This guy's averaging 6.4.
6.4.
Measuring stick for college has always been 5 yards.
There you
So
go.
this guy is way above that line. And then Justin Fields, man, another one. I always say it every week. I wish he would have came to Florida State. But transfer from Georgia, doing big things for Ohio State, and it's kind of hard to argue his case too. This is a tight one, man. This is a tight one.
Definitely. It's going to be very interesting to watch.
The draft is going to be a very interesting one to watch.
We're going to have a lot to talk about when it comes to that this year.
Yeah,
Definitely.
a lot of good stuff. And then we can't forget Justin Herbert from Oregon. We can't forget about Sam Ehlinger from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
The usual names.
That are in the top 10.
Jake Fromm, even though
Yep.
he lost last week, he still should be considered. I think he's still the number one quarterback to really watch. As far as people that get drafted in the first round, he might go number one in my opinion. I think he has it all.
Okay.
Games to watch, right?
Games to watch, yes. Coming up at 3:30 today, got number 12 Oregon against number 25 Washington. We got a battle for the Pac-12. I like it. Question's going to be which Jacob Eason shows up for Washington. He's been a bit inconsistent this year. When he plays well, they do well. When he doesn't, they're not looking too
He's
hot.
going against my Pac-12 champions that I picked at the beginning of this football season. So if Justin Herbert is on fire, I don't really know. I haven't really looked at Washington's defense all that much this year, but it really is going to be dependent on if they are a top 25 defense.
Yep, absolutely.
And then the other game to watch, Arizona State and Utah.
Yep, number 17 versus number 13. That's at 6 p.m. tonight.
I think this is the first time we had 2 game to watches in the same conference.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think it is. But Arizona State, we've had them in games to watch. We've had them in upset alerts. We've been talking about them a lot this year.
Yeah,
They do look good.
They're for real, man. I like what they're doing. Upset alerts, man. Oklahoma State over Baylor.
Yeah. Looking at number 18 to fall today. We'll see if that happens. We're also looking for number 19, SMU, to fall to Temple.
And a new top 25 member, Temple University.
Yeah, if they do that, they will be there.
Yep.
All right. We talked a little bit about Penn State and Michigan today. I believe game days from Happy Valley today, aren't they?
I believe so.
Talking about a whiteout. But let's talk about Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh. We talked about him on one of our other podcasts. But this game today against Penn State, Michigan sitting at 16, Penn State at 7. Is this a season? Is this a career deciding game for the coach? What do you think?
They're 5-1. So let's pump the brakes there.
Okay.
But Penn State has been a very inspiring team to watch this season.
They have.
They're very good for the Big Ten every year when they do well. But also, as we talked about at the beginning of this year, that Michigan is good for football as well.
Yes, they are.
Not just the Big Ten; they're good for football in general. I know we talked about it a little bit last week with Jim Harbaugh. With this game, would a game decision really decide what his career is going to dictate? What decisions get made there. But I really think that if it's a close game, we really can't put their feet to the fire. Penn State is for real this year. And if it's a close game, I wouldn't say that Jim Harbaugh's career is over. He's had a winning season, I think, every season for the past 4 years. I think it's a little bit too early to really give him a hard pass and firing him. But then again, let's look at the Ohio State teams that have been playing while Urban Meyer was there too. You're not going to win the recruiting battle when Urban Meyer is there.
This is true.
Urban Meyer's had a proven track record in college to have very consistent teams that have won national championships, that have gone to multiple high-bidded bowl games. Jim Harbaugh, playing in the Pac-12 before, being the coach at Stanford, that's a little different. And then his success in the NFL, a little different. But I don't think this should dictate if he should get fired. I think Michigan should hold on to a good thing while they have it. I still think it's good for the Big Ten to have the Michigan team right now that, is struggling a little bit. But give the guy a chance. I mean, he's had winning seasons. Why get rid of him? But, yeah, this is going to be an excellent game to watch because both teams have a lot to prove. Penn State, are they better? Are they a lot better than we think they are? And it's kind of the same thing for Michigan. Are we going to let these first 6 games really dictate the rest of their season? 5-1, I know is at this stage of the game is really a determining factor. On, they win today, they're guaranteed a bowl game anyway. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think about it?
It's touchy, man. I mean, I agree. A win goes a long way. But I do agree with you also. I think a loss, depending on how bad of a loss, if it's not a bad loss, I don't think it should go that far. It's going to hurt their season a little bit and where they want to end up. But I don't think it should be a deciding factor on the coach, not yet.
No, we shouldn't lay the hatchet on Jim Harbaugh too hard, man. I don't think it's fair. And I think it'll make the school look bad if they make a decision like that, because what you're going to do is you're going to piss him off, and then he's going to go somewhere else and start winning.
That's it.
Because a lot of these other schools are going to be able to put the capital and spend the time to get him to be one of the best recruiters out there. Hey, come to Florida State. I don't care. It is what it is.
Looking for somebody for Florida State.
Man, I don't think Willie Taggart is it. I say that every week. But so to do a little sidebar, the thing with Florida State that I don't like is when Willie Taggart does these interviews and he comes out and says, hey, we threw away the tape from Clemson last week. What are you talking about? You should hold that tape as your blueprint for the rest of the year. They're a national championship team. Why are we not looking at that tape every single week saying that, do you want this to happen again? These are the bright spots of how we played them, but this is what we didn't do.
Right.
Because Wake Forest is going to come in there and give us the buck nasty today, too, if we continue to play the way that we are. And if I don't even think that Florida State considers firing him after a loss to Wake Forest, even though Wake Forest, I think, is a lot better than everybody thinks they are. If we can't go there and get a win, it's done. There's no coming back. Because you want to throw away the tape to Clemson, a national championship team that's giving you the blueprint?
Blueprint, exactly.
I don't think that's right. Just letting it slide under the radar. Jimbo would never have let anything like this happen.
Gotcha. All right, now I'm going to hit you with a good one, Dante.
Oh, man.
We're getting wound up here a little bit, people. Here we go. The Fair Pay to Play Act. It was signed by California Governor Gavin Newsom. Mm-hmm. Starting in 2023, California state college athletes can accept endorsement money and can hire agents. Now, the NCAA has yet to respond on an official basis, but they've already threatened to bar California schools from competition due to fears of unfair recruiting advantages.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
So, I can see it both ways. So I'm kind of walking the line on this one. And kind of the reason why is I know Tim Tebow was getting hated on that he said it would take out the passion of the game. I totally agree with him. I didn't play collegiate sports, but I can honestly say, how many times are we going to have these Antonio Browns, these Le'Veon Bells,
Oh yeah.
all these different people like this from time to time, every time that money's considered, because I think I should be paid the highest. Le'Veon Bell was not better than Todd Gurley the years before that. He was always considered a top 3 running back, but look at him now. You didn't get the money that you wanted anyways. So how I think about it is like this. First of all, stop thinking that Tim Tebow came from this rich family. And this is a Florida State fan saying this.
Yeah.
Stop thinking that this dude came from a rich family. You guys are just mad that he was outspoken about his religion. You guys are just mad that he was winning. You guys are just mad because he was passionate.
Yeah.
And because he said something like this, it's making you even more mad because you guys don't like Tim Tebow. That's really what it is. But how I think about it is like this. Great. I understand that players want to get paid. Coming from low-income families, want to do something for their family, I get it. But you're already getting a scholarship, most of these athletes that are paying for their school where they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, let's put that cost in there.
Yeah, let's throw that in there. But then again, if you're going to do this, make sure that you give Reggie Bush all his rings,
Yes.
his Heisman Trophy, everything
Yes.
back.
I hear you.
Because wasn't that the reason why that he got everything taken away, because he was making money off his likeness?
Yep.
Come on now. Fair is fair. So, I mean, I get it. I don't mind. I don't mind the athlete making the money, but you got to do the things that were that led up to this point to be reversed as well. So as far as the Reggie Bush thing, I think that needs to be reprimanded.
Yeah.
But
Well,
then again, I think it should be regulated too. There should be a cap on how much. If the schools are going to pay out the athletes, which is another conversation, but I think this also goes along with it. You have a structure where you're paying the athlete across the board the same amount, because just because you got a star quarterback doesn't mean that he should make more money than everybody else on the team, because you're going to cause a stigma right there too. So if this does evolve into players getting paid or getting stipends from the school, because I know that was in the conversation too, make sure that's handled correctly as well, because you're going to have the egos. But if a player's making money off their likeness, then things can be reprimanded as far as the coaching goes. Why are you selling your cleats? Why are you signing your jersey? Why are you signing a napkin at the restaurant?
that's it.
You know, I think they have to realize that it's bigger than making the money too. Like, I don't want the passion of the game to be lost within the monetary factor of all this. So I'm kind of on both sides of the fence. But
I am too. I don't have as much to say on it, but here's my bottom line. You might think that by California pressing this, that their governor is the bad guy in the situation, because he's putting them in this situation. But I think the fault lies with the NCAA, who knew this was coming. It was going to have to be addressed, and they've been dragging their feet for years.
And it took a guy like him to come in place that actually has played collegiate sports, because he was a collegiate baseball player.
There you go.
So factor that in there. He's got a little bit more water to hold.
That's right.
NCAA, I know, I get it, but I don't think it's fair that you're pretty much owning the athlete too.
But how long have these NCAA rules been in place? I realize they were in place for a reason. A lot of it's good, but you have to change with the environment. There has to be a change, and the environment's changing. The way the players are playing, the income, the recognition. I mean, they can't even get paid on can't use their likeness. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's getting a bit much.
I think that's ridiculous, and I don't think people are going to be out there making tons of money. You know what I'm saying? But maybe Jalen Hurts right now, maybe Tua, maybe the Heisman people are going to be making the more money. And I don't know if it'll affect their play, because we have never seen that happen. But just put it like this: if Reggie Bush was playing at a high level, and we know how much of a knucklehead that he can be too, and he still played his best even though he was making money on the side, I don't think this is going to be too much of a factor for some people. So just keep that into consideration when we talk about this. But like I said, you put it in place, give Reggie Bush his stuff back. I'm just saying, fair is fair.
Fair is fair. You're right.
I mean, he said that he was trying to do it for his family.
Yep.
So just consider it all across every base before we start making radical decisions. But I think if right now the athlete is going to have the biggest voice, because I know Northwestern was talking about this years ago when they wanted to give stipends to every player, and then that was like a big hoopla too. But it's like, come on, it's great for the athlete. You just hating. At this point in time, you just hating. That's what it is. So that's kind of my 2 cents, man. I just hope it's fair across the board, and I hope right now the NCAA needs to watch out and not make the wrong decision.
All right, all of our people that are listening to the podcast, hit us up on Facebook, man. What do you think about this? Fair Pay to Play Act. What's your opinions? You've heard ours. Now we want to hear yours. Mm-hmm. So light us up. Let us know what you think.
And before we get off of this, just a little side note. What was his name? De La Haye, I know is his last name. Donald De La Haye was a kicker for UCF that had a YouTube channel, has millions of subscribers now, played in the CFL, knows Marquette King, who was the punter for the Raiders for years, did a video with Antonio Brown the other day. He's good friends with Juju Smith-Schuster. He had his scholarship at UCF expunged because he decided that he wanted to have a YouTube channel and play football, but he said he wasn't giving up his YouTube channel.
Wow.
Now he's making probably close to $1 million a year now with his YouTube channel. I would say that he probably did the right decision.
Wow.
I would, and that's another subject for another day to see where his heart was really at, but thank him for all of this.
Yeah.
Because he really was a big catalyst for this whole thing. So just not forget that.
All right, let's make the trip over to the NFL, and let's start with something very, very recent. Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. We all saw the injury. What looked like the patella was out of place. Looked like they popped it back in on the field.
Travis Kelce said the knee didn't even look like a knee.
Best case scenario from what everybody's saying, he might miss 3 weeks or so. What's going to happen to the Chiefs?
That's funny to think about because Patrick Mahomes the last couple of weeks has had a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, he has.
So, and for being an Eagles fan, Andy Reid is a great game preparer.
Yes, he is.
But not a situational coach when it comes to the game.
No, not in-game changing, making decisions, calling timeouts. He struggles with that.
Have we ever seen Patrick Mahomes just be a true scrambling quarterback? Absolutely not. He's good to get out of situations like Russell Wilson and make a big bomb throw. Why would you call a quarterback sneak strictly going up the middle between all the big men, first risking that his ankle would get twisted by just somebody falling on it, which didn't happen. But now you're dealing with 2 injuries. Now his whole kneecap popped out of place, which now led to another scare if he tore any ligaments. Luckily, MRI came back and said that he didn't need any additional surgery. But you just put him you ruined his career little by little. And this guy was on pace to be arguably the next MVP again. Now you just gave Russell Wilson a clear view to that title.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you did.
So 3 weeks, I think is too short a time. I think if I was Andy Reid, I would protect your investment.
Absolutely.
Have him out. If they said 3 to 6 weeks, have him out for 6 weeks.
Yeah. But
the NFL is gullible. It's what have you done for me lately?
And a lot of these guys do rehab a lot quicker than expected. So, but I agree with somebody that special. You don't want to rush him back. Not at all. Not at all. I would absolutely, because we know whatever backup quarterback is going to jump up there, he's going to do well just because it's Andy Reid's offense. He prepares really well for the moment. Sure does.
But then again, You let this guy rest absolutely until he's 100%.
Yep.
First of all, for the kneecap. Second of all, for his ankle.
That's right.
You got 2 injuries that nobody's really talking about that. Give him time to rest his ankle as well. And he, for me, he needs to get that checked out more than the kneecap at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's you got to protect your investment at this point in time. The Panthers are doing it with Cam Newton,
Absolutely.
and we'll get into
And
a little
we'll be
bit of
getting into that here very shortly.
Yeah.
All right, let's go over some NFL statistics. The stat leaders. We want to know who's on top. Individual category for yards. All right, for quarterback, leading the way, we just talked about him, Patrick Mahomes, 2,180 yards.
Mm-hmm.
In the running back situation, no surprise, Christian McCaffrey, 618 yards.
And he didn't have a good rushing game last game. He was
No.
just all around a good player.
And then
Shout out to his brother. They got drafted to the XFL. this
XFL,
past
yes, I did see that. That's awesome. Wide receiver. Now, this may surprise you a bit because we're coming out of Tampa Bay, but Chris Godwin, 662 yards.
He's putting up numbers,
He
man.
is.
And I remember talking to Kyle, who's one of our desk side. He was an intern. Well, I think he's still an intern with our job. But anyways, he joined us on our fantasy football league this year, and he's like, "Man, everybody needs to watch out for Chris Godwin. He's a beast." And sure enough, he
Yeah.
drafted him on his team, and he's doing really well.
Absolutely.
It's not really Mike Evans anymore, which does give you, you're going to have to double cover Chris Godwin now because he's a speedy one.
Yeah.
Mike Evans is going to be the one jumping up, catching passes. Shout out to Jameis Winston, too, for finally doing good, but one boy still threw 5 picks last week.
Yeah, that wasn't good. All right, team offense. Now, this is average yards per game. This is not total.
Mm-hmm.
So the average total yards, passing, rushing, still on top. Baltimore Ravens averaging 450 yards a game.
Mark Ingram said he's having a lot of fun with the Baltimore Ravens.
And
It's hard to not like
yeah,
the Ravens front office, man. They seem to do.
I know, man.
It seemed like they have like one bad year and they put the pieces back again the next year. Like that year that they went to the Super Bowl against the 49ers. It was like, what? The Ravens are in the Super Bowl?
Passing yards per game. Those Kansas City Chiefs averaging 318 yards. Now, that may change here over the next few weeks. But,
Yep.
And the rushing yards per game at 205, those same Baltimore Ravens. They got a running quarterback in Lamar Jackson. They got Mark Ingram. They do like to run the ball, and it's working.
It is.
It's working, man. They got an awesome tight end that catches the ball. They got some receivers that have been stepping up this year. Defense is looking good. A little bit of a tough test this week, but we'll see how they make out.
Yep. So, back to the Chiefs. Matt Moore
Matt
is
Moore.
their quarterback.
Yes, he is.
Probably one of the best backup quarterbacks.
I tell you what, I was so worried that game. Got to be halftime. Mahomes is hurt, and Tyreek Hill does not have a catch. Now, you got to understand, Tyreek Hill's on my fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on? Sure enough, Matt Moore hooks him up. Boom. There it is.
Yep. It's crazy, man.
This is the year of the backups, man. I'm telling you.
It is. Absolutely.
All right, team defense. Total yards allowed. So these are the stingy guys. They don't give up the yards. Average yards given up per game, 234. That's the New England Patriots. And we're going to talk a little bit about those numbers in a little
didn't
more
they
in
just have
depth.
their first passing touchdown against them last week?
Yes. They hadn't given up a passing touchdown in like 5 games.
And Devin McCourty's like 100 years old, and he's playing at a high level right now. And we can't forget about Stephon Gilmore, who is probably like the best cornerback ever.
Sacks. Carolina Panthers have 27 sacks.
I have them on my fantasy team.
There you
That was
go.
a great pickup.
Turnovers. New England Patriots at 9. So they are getting a lot of takeaways. All right, now let's talk about that for a second. Giving up the least amount of yards, New England Patriots. Getting the most turnovers, New England Patriots. New England Patriots are 6-0. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
The combined record of the 6 teams they have beaten is 10-23. There's only one team with a winning record, the Buffalo Bills, that they've beaten in these 6 games. Everybody else has won 0, 1, or 2 games. And this week they play the Jets for the second time. So, yes, they'll be 7-0. Yes, they'll be putting up awesome stats. But who are these New England Patriots when they play somebody that matters?
Right. And that's very interesting to think about, that the Bills have been the best team that they've played record-wise.
Yeah. And that's the only loss the Bills have had this year.
Exactly. And we thought that division was going to be a clear sweep for the Patriots, and it's really not. I mean, with the Bills knocking on the door and the Jets and the Dolphins are just terrible, but Sam Darnold's back and he's utilizing Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson, they beat the Cowboys last week, man.
As long as he throws it to him, I think he'll be all right, because I think he's still a mediocre quarterback too. So, but then again, the Patriots, division winner again.
Yeah. Now, I know we didn't really talk about this ahead of time, but I'm going to throw out there my game to watch this week for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Should be no surprise to anybody listening. Cowboys and Eagles Sunday night. Neither team has set the world on fire. They're both at 3-3, but they're playing for the lead in the division right now.
Yep.
Both teams have a lot of injuries. They have players out that matter. They've played ugly games. They've played good games. I mean, the Eagles march into Green Bay on a Thursday night and beat the Packers.
At Lambeau.
At Lambeau. But, they lose games they should win. They're beating themselves most of the time this year.
That defense, man. Ugly.
Dante, man, I think you could throw a touchdown against that defensive backfield for the Eagles.
Yeah, the cornerback situation is still ugly.
It's ugly. They get Jalen Mills back this week, but that's just another body to get burned, man.
He's going to be out by next week. I mean, they need to focus on that secondary, man. Like Carson Wentz and the offense do what they're going to do. You know what you're going to get there, but I mean, Fletcher Cox looks like the only one trying most of the time.
Yeah, I tell you, it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah.
I mean, Dak, he may be the one that has to win the game. Eagles seem to
still with this contract dispute situation going on. Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to get their receivers back and get their tackles playing this week. They're down 2 tackles in Dallas. It's a battle of attrition, man.
It is.
But it should be a decent game, but that's my game to watch this week.
I agree. 100%. Even though it's not a high-profile game,
no, it's not.
It's a game to definitely watch out for, because it has implications for the NFC South for sure.
Definitely.
Or is it NFC South or East?
Well, that's the NFC East. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch a score update on your Florida, South Carolina. It's not looking good, man.
It's 31-20 right now. Florida's up.
Yeah, not liking it with 4.5 minutes to go in the game.
Damn it, man.
And Florida's got the ball. That's not good, man.
Oh, man. Jeez.
All right, we talked about the year of the backup. So let's talk about Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen, Carolina Panthers. This is a guy who played at Desert Mountain High School in Scottsdale, Arizona. Passed for over 8,000 yards and 86 touchdowns in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Heavily recruited. He had 17 different offers to play at college. And, I mean, we're talking the big names, the top 25 teams, and he chose Texas A&M. During the second season, he gets injured. I believe it was a shoulder-related injury. He loses the starting job to none other than Kyler Murray. So, in 2015, he announces his transfer because Kyler Murray's got the job. He's not going to get it back. He said, man, I'm transferring out. I want to go to Houston. Guess what happens? Guess what happens 2 weeks later? Kyler Murray transfers out. So he can't say, hey, I'll take that job back. I want to stay in school. No. He gets redshirted in 2016 while he's at Houston, played for them in 2017, and then declared for the draft. He had another year of eligibility and decided, no, I'm going to go in the draft. And he was drafted when?
Never.
Never. He was signed as an undrafted free agent with the Panthers. Now, here's where it gets interesting. He was waived. He was on the Jets practice squad. Waived. Panthers picked him back up again for their practice squad. So an undrafted free agent makes his first NFL start on September 22nd, replacing the injured Cam Newton against the Cardinals. He's undefeated since he started. 901 yards, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, 65% completion. Now the question that everybody's asking. They have a bye this week. Next week they have the Niners, who are undefeated at this point. If Cam Newton is healthy, who starts against the Niners?
Well, you already know how I would do it. You stay with the hot hand.
Hot hand, man. I agree. You do not change.
And a lot of people say that Kyle Allen hasn't really played like extraordinary.
No.
Does he really need to?
You got Christian McCaffrey, man. You got a runner. I mean, he's putting up decent numbers as far as touchdowns versus interceptions. His yards aren't bad per game, but they're not ridiculous. They're not Patrick Mahomes numbers, you know?
And the Buccaneers this year aren't any pushovers. So, I mean, last game he was 20 for 32 with 227 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against the Panthers. And I think they played in England, right?
Yeah, the Tampa game was in England, yeah.
So, going across the pond, getting a win, jet lag, everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, he rushed 3 times for 3 yards. But it's still. I don't see the downside to having Kyle Allen as your quarterback for right now. He's got more wins than Cam Newton's probably got.
But then look at this
in the
too.
last 4 games.
Another thing to consider: Cam Newton's coming back from injury. I know he's been recovering, but do you really want to put him out there against that 49ers defense? I mean,
you're gonna get crunched up by Nick Bosa.
Granted, one of your favorites that you like to pick on, Jared Goff.
Yeah,
he didn't even pass for 100 yards against the Niners.
Man threw for like 88 yards.
I know, man. Killed me. I mean, I'm not a big fan either, but what do you do when you got him as your starting quarterback on your fantasy team, man?
There's not a lot that you can do with Jared Goff. Just not a lot that you can do when you have, Matt Ryan.
Yeah, no, I don't have him this year, thank God.
But still, you stay with the hot hand.
Yeah.
I think at this point, though, and I know people love Cam Newton as far as the teammates go.
Yeah.
He's always had a problem with Carolina fans because they're going to blame every loss on Cam Newton.
Yep, he's the quarterback.
Might as well just trade him away. What do you got to lose?
Is this going to be one of those cases where he moves to another city and then he is reinvigorated and he does better? I mean, that's traditionally what happens with a Philly athlete. They get rid of them and they go somewhere else and they're superstars. You know?
He needs to go to a team that's going to let him be himself, though, because I think Ron Rivera is such a defender-minded coach that he is trying to keep him to be a way that he really can't be. Kyle Allen is a true game manager who's going to fit in Ron Rivera's system. This has always been the trend from the last 5 years with Cam Newton. It's like, I want to hold him back. The first year when he got there as a rookie, there was no holdback.
No holdback.
But then it was like, oh, he's getting hit too much. And this, just let Cam Newton be Cam Newton, and you guys are going to be fine. He needs to go to a team like that. So, teams that get thrown out there lately, the Bears.
Yeah.
I like Mitchell Trubisky, though. But it might be good for the Bears to have somebody like Cam Newton, because I think their coach is going to allow him to do his thing. Even Arizona. They have Kyler Murray right now, but I mean, Cliff Kingsbury is one of those quarterbacks or one of those coaches that are going to let you do your thing.
Right.
Buccaneers down there with whatchamacallit. I cannot remember his name.
I'm already on the next one waiting. I'm waiting for you to finish, man.
So
I got the next one.
Who's your next one?
Your boy Josh Rosen down in Miami.
Oh,
he
man.
can stay, just go to Florida, man.
Yeah, he could go to Miami too because they got nothing to lose. But I'm sure Cam Newton's going to want to go to a place where he's able to win some games.
Yeah,
I think at this point in his career, he's already been to the Super Bowl, and that's kind of like he's hungry for it. Now, a team that's never won, or like Josh Rosen, for example, he's not used to winning, so it's a lot easier to plug him into a place where they're not really winning all that much.
Right.
But man, there's not a lot of teams for him to go, though.
Now,
to be
think of
honest.
this. I don't know age-wise, and I don't know health-wise, but Drew Brees been around for a while, man.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine if he went in the division to a team like the Saints? Ooh.
Yeah, because I don't think Drew Brees or Ben Roethlisberger's coming back.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder that myself. Oh,
the Steelers.
Steelers, there you go, man.
Mike Tomlin will let him do his thing.
He would. You're absolutely right.
Wow. Prediction time.
Oh, here we go.
Cam Newton gets traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Can you imagine that if that happens?
Man, I mean, they traditionally have never been like a Russian-type quarterback like that, though. Well,
Cordell Stewart.
Yep. I forgot. Slash was there.
Yes, he was.
But it's been years since they've seen something like that.
That's right.
But Cam Newton's got an arm. He's accurate. He's a big boy. Get him out there with Juju Smith-Schuster and them. I think they'll have some fun. I think you probably need to see him in the black and gold this season.
There you go.
To be completely honest. Yeah, I think that's the perfect fit for him.
That would be a
Pittsburgh.
good fit.
Especially if Ben is like, I ain't coming back.
Yeah.
Rally to get Cam Newton
Yep.
because you can make an effort. They're always a team that's going to win games.
Yep.
Then imagine watching the game between him and Lamar Jackson every year.
It's getting good, man.
Man, I'm making the best case scenario right now.
Okay. Who's listening that's going to make that happen?
It's crazy. Yeah. It's something needs to happen. Something big like that.
Yeah. You have to run that by Heather and see how she feels about that.
Well, I have a couple of Carolina Panthers people that listen to the podcast.
They probably won't be too happy about you talking like
and
that,
they
man.
actually like Cam too. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry to like hurt your feelings like this, but he's just not a good fit for you guys.
The
I'm
only
sorry.
problem I have with him is his attire afterwards. Otherwise, I wish the best for him. I like him.
Oh man, I love it though. He's himself, but it is a little weird.
It is
every
a
once in
little
while.
on the weird side.
So, rounding this out, guys. Like we said, we're going to be up at Maroon Hornet Comics in Oxford, 1 p.m. for a meet and greet, 2 p.m. We're going to start the show. Me, Don are going to be up there. My wife's going to be up there. Randy, of course.
Yeah. Now, be prepared for this, folks, that we are going to have a segment next week. Not saying how long, not saying how short, but there will be a segment about the Jacksonville Jaguars next week.
Yes.
And that we're going to have input from Randy. Randy is a Jaguars fan. Dante's a Jaguars fan. We're going to be talking about Uncle Rico.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be talking about the whole thing. Blake Bortles, Jalen Ramsey going to the Rams to play with Blake Bortles. I mean, we're going to talk the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
So you'll have Randy on the air with us, and you'll be able to hear his thoughts.
Gardner Minshew, you need to come in clutch for these next 3 weeks because I had Patrick Mahomes on my team, and I picked you up in free agency not too long ago. This is your time to shine, Pally. Make sure you got that mustache brushed up and ready to go. Man, yeah, I can't wait, guys. We finally got T-shirts in and stuff.
Yeah.
Trying it out, and we'll try to see if we can order some more and do some giveaways with those. But we got bracelets, business cards now. This thing is getting serious. I actually had somebody come up to me. I ain't gonna mention any names, but he was like, "Oh, y'all are for real, right?"
Yeah, we're for real,
Yeah,
man.
we're for real.
Heck yeah.
Think this is a game?
Yeah.
Man, we love doing this stuff, guys. We love talking about this stuff every week. Football season is a beautiful time of year. And shout out to Middletown High School.
There you go.
And Apple High School. Went and saw the game last night at Middletown's the Cavalier Stadium. It was a good game, man. And just along to go with the subject here, they went for 2 twice.
There you go, man.
Middletown
Love
they didn't even kick it. It was 14-13 was the score. It was about 14-7 after Middletown had scored again. Number 5, whoever the quarterback is for Middletown, shout out to you, man. I want to get you on and talk about you a little bit. You're really impressive. And number 3, the running back for Apple, man. He's going to be a good little running back, I think, too. So I would love to have both of those guys on one day. I'm going to see if I can reach out to him and get him on the podcast. But leading into the last half of that game, or the last quarter of the game, Middletown went all the way down, or Apple went all the way down, tried to tie up the game. It was 13-14. They went for 2.
Ooh.
Didn't make it. Then they did an onside kick, got the onside kick back, and they couldn't convert.
Wow.
And it was about 33 seconds left, I think it was. And I think time management really bit them in the butt. But I think they should have just kicked the field goal. That's just me.
Yeah.
Just take a tie. And at least you could say that you tied one of the best teams, because Middletown is like 5-1 this year or something like that.
Okay.
But, man, the most flags I've ever seen thrown in the game, though? Jeez. I swear that, like, Middletown was on the only drive of the whole game in the third quarter because they threw so many flags.
Now, were they throwing flags because they had to, or were they just so cold they wanted to get their arms moving?
Man,
it had to have been cold out there.
I don't know. They were throwing the flags that it was a football at one point. And so, but, yeah, it was a great game. I'll be watching those 2 teams more closely because they are local guys. So, anybody from Middletown High School or Apple listening to the podcast, reach out to us on Facebook, and we would love to feature number 5, whoever the quarterback. I don't know his name. I know he wore number 5. He was a good quarterback for Middletown, and then number 3 from Apple, the running back there. So, like I said, I'm gonna try to reach out to him, see if I can get him on, to talk about themselves, before they head off to college or whatever year they're in for high school.
Yep.
To build up their tape and stuff. But I truly think they were 2 little good players that I saw from last night. So that'll do it for this week's episode of the Go for 2 podcast. It is October 19th and October 26th. We will see you in Oxford, Pennsylvania.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the homecoming, man.
Yeah, man. And it's never a gimme.
Always go for 2.
Always go for 2, guys. We'll see you later.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Go for 2 podcast. Please follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Go for 2 podcast. Also, if you liked what you heard and don't want to miss an episode, please follow us on iTunes.